You are not just another person. You are a force, a presence, a living test. Some will be drawn to you instantly, while others will resent you without reason. Why? Because you are karma in motion. The anointed ones, welcome. Be mindful of how you treat others. Sometimes you're not dealing with a person but a test. Many think karma is slow, but that's false. Sometimes it arrives in human form, shakes everything up, and watches your response. You are that. If people act strangely around you, it's because you reflect what they cannot face within themselves. You're a mirror, a catalyst, a chosen one. Stand firm. Your presence is not an accident. It is a message. You are a divine audit, a spiritual X-ray machine. Whether people like it or not, your very presence exposes their true selves. The majority of people dislike it, let's face it. Humans are hardwired to resist change, according to studies. When the brain encounters anything that contradicts its preconceived notions, it physically feels uncomfortable. People's brains thus go into overdrive when you appear exuding spiritual clarity, truth, and depth. They either accept the improvement or attempt to reject it by self-destructing. Have you ever been disliked by someone before you ever spoke a word? It wasn't a personal matter. It was a sign from their soul that you were a challenge they weren't prepared for. Even stranger is this. A person's karma is determined by how they treat you. There is an unseen pact while you are there. Their future chapter is shaped by how they treat you. Are they going to get up? Are they going to fall? It is up to them. Prepare yourself, because what you're about to discover will permanently alter your perception of yourself if you've ever felt like you set off strong responses. First of all, you are the mirror that reveals concealed decay. The majority of individuals conceal their true selves from others. Instead of being authentic, they create identities based on what they want other people to perceive of them. They appear to have it all figured out, ignore their fears, and repress their imperfections. Then you enter their lives, and all of a sudden, that delusion begins to fall apart. You don't need to make any big gestures or say anything. They detest the fact that just being close to them makes them view themselves in a manner they were never prepared for. Because of this, some individuals will detest you right away and without cause. It's because your energy exposes their meticulously constructed self-image, not because you've mistreated them. You act as a mirror, reflecting back to them everything they attempt to conceal, including their insincerity, their repressed envy, their concealed anxieties, and their open wounds. Things that they used to be able to ignore with ease now confront them directly, and they blame you for making them feel that way, rather than confronting the issue. They will tell themselves you are too much, demanding, or conceited. However, that's simply their ego going into overdrive. People prefer to believe they are decent, trustworthy, and in charge. However, once you get into the picture, their behavior, rather than their words, tells the whole tale. Some will develop by accepting what they see. Instead of confronting what the mirror reflects, some may strike out, attempting to smash it. The issue was never you. They were terrified because you were the one person they couldn't lie to. For this reason, the energy of a room may be changed just by your presence. Why some individuals feel vulnerable in your presence, even if you haven't done anything to cause them to feel that way. You disclose people's life to themselves, not just to them. You will always be the antagonist in the narrative that people tell themselves if they are unwilling to confront that reality. The second is that you make lying uncomfortable. Comfortable falsehoods are the foundation of people's whole lives. When they're not happy, they convince themselves that they are. They continue to be in relationships they no longer need. They adhere to customs in which they have no faith. They persuade themselves that their decisions are the correct ones, regardless of how out of alignment they may be. These delusions provide them a fictitious feeling of security, a world in which they are not forced to think too seriously about anything. Then you arrive, and all of a sudden, the fractures appear. You are not required to speak. Simply your presence, your energy, your thoughts, and your manner of living upend the meticulously constructed narratives that individuals tell themselves. You bring to their attention the facts they have suppressed. You force them to bear the consequences of their own concessions. Their steady existence begins to seem inadequate. Their justifications are no longer credible, which makes you dangerous. Because illusions are cozy, people like having them. Admitting the reality is acknowledging that they have been deceiving themselves, squandering time, and acting out of fear rather than intention. The majority of individuals will stop at nothing to avoid facing themselves. Their natural reaction is to reject you rather than the lie when you appear, and unintentionally upend the basis of their delusions. They will call you too much, tough, or different, not because you are, but because they will have to start thinking about themselves if they accept what you stand for. You will be resented in silence by some, because they know deep down that they have been living a script rather than their reality. Others may attempt to discredit you, make fun of you, or make you feel like an outsider, and they are forced to acknowledge it by your presence. You don't intentionally ruin people's life. The disturbance is you. Furthermore, the truth is the most unwanted visitor to a world that is based on cozy illusions. Third, you cause their greatest karmic obligation to be activated. Some individuals believe they have escaped the weight of their past and spend years avoiding the repercussions of their conduct. They spend their lives evading responsibility, harming others without feeling guilty, and accruing unpaid karma like an unpayable bill. Then you arrive, and all of a sudden the bill is due. There is nothing for you to do. Their unresolved history comes to the surface simply by being in their lives. It's an energy rule, not a coincidence. People are forced to face what they have been avoiding for years because of your presence, which functions as a karmic trigger. They may not even comprehend why they feel uncomfortable in your presence, why past shame or guilt suddenly comes back, or why seeing you appears to change their lives. On a deeper level, however, their soul is fully aware of what is taking place. They were supposed to come upon you, and whether they succeed or fail will depend on how they respond to that situation. This explains why certain individuals would attack you without any justification. You unintentionally remind them that they have been living on borrowed time, that they have gotten away with unethical behavior, and that their spiritual debt is now being paid back. Because you unwittingly stand for the justice they've been evading, rather than because you've done anything wrong, they may attempt to manipulate you, place their blame on you, or even incite others against you. Your presence feels different to those who have lived honorably. They sense alignment, not terror. They experience recognition rather than rejection. Because karma is about balance, not simply retribution. You will be seen by those who have done well as a sign that they are headed in the right direction. However, those who have lived their whole lives stealing, lying, or hurting others may feel vulnerable, uneasy, and compelled to flee. You activate karma rather than bringing it, and that's the scariest thing in the world to certain people. Fourth, you are the spiritual upgrade that no one wants. It is unpleasant to grow. It means letting go of outdated ideas, challenging routines, and facing the aspects of ourselves that we would like to avoid. Not everyone is prepared to take such action. Some individuals take solace in their own misery and cling to their difficulties like a security blanket. They utilize their suffering, their justifications, and their misfortune to create whole identities. They seek proof that being trapped is okay, not a route out. Then you appear, and you wreck it for them without even trying. You are an unwelcome spiritual advancement. Just your presence upends the illusion of stability they have established for themselves. Telling them to change is not even necessary. They are frightened by your enthusiasm, which makes it obvious that they can't remain the same. Taking responsibility is a must for growth. Additionally, being responsible implies that they can no longer place the blame on their history, their current situation, or other people. It means they have to acknowledge that they could do better, and some people find that awareness to be too much to bear. People fight you so hard because of this. They will quarrel, start arguments, or even attempt to discredit you. Desperate to show that you're not as advanced as you seem to be, others may attempt to bring you down to their level. You will be completely rejected by others, who will either cut you off or treat you as an enemy. In actuality, they are rejecting what you stand for rather than you. You are a living ultimatum, a fork in the path. Change or remain the same. The majority of people are unaware that this is taking place. They just understand that there is something about you that makes them nervous. However, they know deep down that meeting you will mean that their old habits are over. Furthermore, some individuals would rather battle to remain the same than make even one move in the direction of change. Fifth, you are at a crossroads in your life. Through you, people make their own decisions. Whether they are aware of it or not, everyone you encounter is at a spiritual crossroads. People are always faced with choices in life: change or remain the same, behave honorably or succumb to evil, ascend or descend. Most of the time, individuals make these decisions without giving them any thought. However, that choice becomes instantaneous and certain once they meet you. You are more than simply a person going through life. A moment of truth masquerading as a person. You are a spark. There is more to how someone treats you than simply the here and now. It's a pivotal action that initiates their karma. Their path opens up if they accept your energy with dignity and humility. They unwittingly cement their destiny in ways they won't comprehend until later, if they reject you, betray you, or attempt to destroy you. This is the reason why some individuals abuse you and then appear to have a downward spiral in their life. It's cause and effect. It's not a coincidence. The universe keeps a watchful eye on them when they come into contact with you. Their response dictates what happens next, and your presence serves as a spiritual test. Some will rise, motivated by your enthusiasm and fueled to become their best selves. People will attempt to control you, oppose, or attack you without understanding that they are chosen a road of conflict and deterioration. The fact that most people will never realize the connection just serves to highlight how deep this is. They will encounter obstacles, disappointments, or an increasing feeling of emptiness, but they won't understand that their decision on how to treat you was the moment they sealed their doom. They had the opportunity to level up, but they choose to turn down the one thing that may have benefited them. No one needs to be punished. Seeking retribution is not necessary. There is absolutely nothing you need to do. The cosmos handles the rest as soon as they make their decision on how to treat you. Sixth, you disclose who is acting and who is not. The majority of individuals are actors. They pretend to be whatever they want the public to see, say the proper words, and put on the appropriate masks. Some seem to be good-hearted while they have deep-seated animosity. When they're just repeating stuff they don't comprehend, some people appear smart. When their confidence is based on insecurity, some people act successful. Their lives have been based on looks rather than content. Everything they've been pretending to be is suddenly in danger of being revealed when you arrive. You don't even need to confront them. You are dangerous just by being here. They feel uncomfortable with you because, deep down, they know you are not who they claim to be. Their polished performance begins to falter around you. Sometimes, they become passive-aggressive, defensive, or agitated without even understanding why. It's because, on an energy level, their soul understands that you can see beyond their outward appearance to their true selves. Those who have done the inside effort will connect with you right away. Since they have nothing to conceal, they won't see you as a danger. Your energy feels like home to them, since they have already removed their outermost layers. However, others who are still holding on to their delusions may oppose you, feel jealous of you, or even attempt to undermine you. Standing next to you helps them understand how much of their life is a show, not because you've done anything bad. This is the reason why some individuals who think they are virtuous, spiritual, or righteous will be the first to turn against you. Being seen in a certain manner is essential to their whole identity, and your presence makes it more difficult to maintain. You don't intentionally reveal them. The way they respond to you exposes them. They might decide to mature and become more genuine. However, most won't. Rejecting the mirror is simpler than confronting what it reflects. You serve as a sobering reminder. You expose people, not just meet them. Seventh, you cause their deepest wounds and secret anxieties to flare up. The majority of individuals are quite skilled at escaping from themselves. They conceal their fears behind relationships, accomplishments, or diversions. They use denial, amusement, or work to dull their suffering. Although they have just learned to avoid them, they deceive themselves into believing they have gone beyond their previous traumas. Then, all those hidden wounds start screaming for attention when you arrive. It's not because you're attempting to understand their suffering. You're not even have to. Your presence, your energy, and your mannerisms reveal all they've been attempting to hide. Perhaps your confidence draws attention to their self-doubt. Perhaps your candor reveals their tendency to deceive themselves. Perhaps your capacity to leave toxic settings serves as a reminder to them of how stuck they are in their own. Whatever it is, there's something about you that makes them want to do the very things they've been avoiding for years. Most individuals won't view this as a chance to become better. The last thing they want to do is confront their suffering, which is a necessary part of healing. Rather, they seek someone or something to place the blame on, and that someone is often you. They will persuade themselves that you are the cause of their discomfort, and that they may avoid dealing with the feelings you have evoked by rejecting, pushing you away, or discrediting you. It's simpler for them to think you're conceited, challenging, or self-centered than to acknowledge that the true problem is inside them. The fact is, however, that they had these wounds with them at all times. They were constantly fighting these fears. It just so happens that you unintentionally exposed them, and most people will be angry at you for reminding them that there is something that needs to be healed, rather than appreciating you for pointing it out. The eighth is that you are an unwelcome instructor, lessons that individuals are unwilling to learn. Nobody enjoys learning something they didn't want to learn, particularly if it makes them change. Until development really requires anything of them, until it entails ending destructive patterns, letting go of old ideas, or confronting the truth about themselves, the majority of people believe they are ready for it. Here's where you can help. You're not here to engage in superficial dialogue or to encourage individuals to remain stagnant. Your purpose is to awaken them. However, waking people awake is a risky profession. People become defensive when they are uncomfortable, and growth is unpleasant. Many will see you as a danger rather than a guide. They will persuade themselves that you are the issue, as most people aren't prepared to acknowledge that something in their lives needs to alter in order to accept you as a lesson. To feel better about themselves, they will make fun of you, ignore you, or misrepresent what you say. Desperate to avoid gazing in the mirror you unwittingly hold up. Some may even go to great lengths to turn others against you. They don't really despise you. They despise what you stand for. A change they're not ready for, a reality check they never requested, and a truth they've been avoiding. What about the irony? The more they fight back, the more they demonstrate why you were needed in the first place, because you wouldn't disturb them in the least if they were really at peace. However, they do respond. They do snap. They do make an effort to discredit you, but they fail to see that doing so exposes the very things that need to be fixed. They never had you as an adversary. They weren't prepared for you as their instructor, and they toss the textbook at your head rather than teaching you the lesson. The ninth is that you generate a conflict between their higher and lower selves. Every individual you encounter has two selves: their lower self, which clings to comfort, ego, and fear, and their higher self, which yearns for development, truth, and advancement. The majority of individuals live in the middle, fluctuating according on their circumstances, experiences, and social circle. However, that silent internal conflict escalates into a full-scale conflict when you enter their lives. Something in them is awakened by your presence. It awakens their higher self, reminding them of their potential and the integrity, power, and knowledge they have been neglecting. They may feel temporarily motivated by you, attracted to your enthusiasm, and even encouraged. When their lower self realizes what's going on, however, it panics. Because suffering is a necessary part of progress. It entails accepting responsibility, ending cycles, and kicking undesirable behaviors. Additionally, the lower self despises responsibility. This explains why there are some who seem to love you one minute and hate you the next. Why people may respect your power but later harbor animosity for you. Why they would pretend to be your buddy before abruptly betraying you. You're not the main focus. It concerns the internal conflict between their lower self, which is trying to maintain control, and their higher self, which wants to change. The majority of individuals are unaware of their internal conflict. All they know is that they feel conflicted about something about you. They are inspired yet insecure, attracted to you but protective. Their lower self is struggling to live, which is why they may lash out, ghost you, or attempt to undermine you. Not because you have done anything wrong. The conflict is not you. You are only the battleground. They had to decide whether to embrace their own potential or delve into their own darkness the minute they met you. And you can tell precisely which side is winning based on how they treat you. The 10th is that you are a litmus test for emotions. Individuals believe they are familiar with themselves. They think they are emotionally mature, powerful, and wise, until they encounter someone who questions that. Here's where you can help. You are a litmus test for emotions. People's responses to you reveal where they are in their spiritual development, whether they are feigning growth or not. Self-aware people will be able to sense your vibe right away. Even if they are unable to articulate the reason, they will have a feeling of alignment. Since they've done the inside effort, they won't see you as a danger. They have accepted responsibility for their own development, confronted their fears, and admitted their shortcomings. They will be attracted to you, rather than fight you, because they realize that you are a sign that they are headed in the correct direction. However, some people aren't prepared. They may believe that they are, but their response to your energy reveals otherwise. They reopen their unhealed wounds. Their pride bursts into action. They respond in the only manner their lower self knows how, by fighting, refusing, or attempting to pull you down, because they feel exposed in ways they are unable to explain. Some will spread rumors about you in an effort to incite others against you. People will make fun of you, minimize your knowledge, or pretend that you are the issue. However, they are unaware that every action they perform directly reflects on them, not on you. For this reason, when others respond badly to you, you shouldn't doubt your value. All they're doing is showing how much they've grown. It's similar to giving someone an exam they were unaware they were taking. While the unprepared may panic, lash out, or flee, the spiritually mature will pass with ease. People aren't exposed by you. They are not judged by you. They are not coerced into doing anything. You just exist. In such life, individuals rate themselves without realizing it. It is all up to them whether they ascend or show their shortcomings. 11th, you are karma's last warning before repercussions materialize. There are some who believe they can outrun karma. They steal, deceive, destroy, and lie with no repercussions because they think they always will, since they have gotten away with it in the past. They believe their acts exist in a vacuum and that life operates according to their rules. The cosmos, however, never forgets. It does nothing except wait. Additionally, it's often the last minute before their time runs out that you enter their lives. Your karma is not theirs. Their final hope of escaping it is you. You are the red light that flashes before the train crashes, the warning sign. They have a chance to change, to choose differently, to halt the self-destruction before it's too late, because of something about your presence. They can change their course if they pay attention. Ignoring or attacking you will just hasten the already inevitable outcomes. This explains why certain people respond to you so strongly. It's desperation, not just distaste. They are aware of their limited time on a deep, subconscious level. They sense that the time for transformation is running out, and that they will soon be overcome by the burden of their history. And they intensify their methods rather than lowering themselves and making amends. They do everything to escape the reality you stand for, including pushing you away, making fun of you, and betraying you. However, it is impossible to completely ignore the truth, and the cosmos takes over once they reject the lesson you provide. All of a sudden, everything begins to fall apart. Their bonds break down. They run out of luck. The things they depended on fail. Even if they don't always attribute it to you, you were the pivotal moment. They slammed the door shut themselves, and you were the final door before the storm. Not everyone will pay attention. People won't all change. But you don't have to bear that load. To preserve them is not your purpose. To convey the message, you are here. It is up to them what they do with it. The cosmos takes care of the rest when you've done your share. The 12th is that you unintentionally break generational curses. Generational curses are not limited to superstition or mythology. These are very real patterns that are handed down through families under the pretense of tradition or the way things are. Destructive cycles, poisonous habits, limiting beliefs, and trauma are like heirlooms that are passed down from one generation to the next by people who are too blind or scared to break them. You're not just here to be. To awaken, you are here. You will be adored by some. They will regard you as a beacon of hope, a reminder that they, too, have the capacity to transform, break patterns, and discover their true selves. People will hate you because you remind them of the labor they refuse to perform, not because you have done them any harm. You will encounter resistance, misinterpretation, and perhaps even betrayal. You impose a decision between progress and stagnation, not because you are the issue. The majority of individuals would prefer to battle you than their own constraints. The fact is, however, you don't need approval. People don't have to comprehend you. It's not necessary for everyone to accept what you have to offer. You were never supposed to be hired. It was to arrive, change the atmosphere, impart the lesson, and then go. Understanding that it is totally up to them whether they succeed or fail. Your presence will be felt by those who are supposed to be there. Their hearts, brains, and souls will all be accessible to you. What about those who aren't prepared? They'll turn you away. However, you will have made a lasting impression on them, even if they reject you. Thus, go unfazed. You are more than simply a human. You are a walking karma, a force of change, and a divine disturbance. And they will always remember you, regardless of whether they fear you, hate you, or love you. This is only the beginning, whether this message resonated with you, or if it made you feel anything. There are a lot of deeper realities to discover, and a lot more to unearth. You won't want to miss what comes next, I promise. Therefore, be sure to subscribe to the channel immediately. If this spoke to you, please hit the like button and leave a comment below. Tell me what struck you the most. Additionally, share this video with anybody you know who should hear it. By sharing this message, You never know whose life you may be able to influence. This goes beyond just substance. It's a movement. And you're involved. One truth at a time. Let's continue to awaken the globe. May you be blessed. Bamba.